Yep. The only reason I'm on at 9:31 is just to scare Tori. Gotcha. Didn't think I'd be on this early, did you? I got you. I got you. I can only do that once a show. I can only get that high once a show. I'm not going to tell you guys how I do it because it's kind of personal. What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Man, I am super, super excited about today's show. It's not a show, but still excited. Dude, for those of you that didn't get the email, and that's not metaphorical, you may not know who's coming on in a few minutes, but holy shit. And also, I'm going to set this up on my phone so that it's easy for me. It's easy for me to see what's going on my phone. Yeah, man. What's good with everybody? Funny enough, I don't see the stream on my phone. Time to close some things up. I think my phone's been busy. I see Tori being a goof on that test. Look at that. That's a funny expression. And right now she's probably like brushing her teeth or something, whatever. And she's like, Pete's probably gonna be another 20 minutes before he gets on. I got plenty of time. No problem at all. Interesting. I can't see my my stream or live, but I don't seem to be able to watch my stream. Don't seem to be able to watch my stream. That it did? Let's try it one more time. And then I might just hop off. Try this again because I'm not even sure it's live. Oh, there it is. Ha ha. What's up, man? So I can't see this stream on my own device for some odd reason that I can't explain. We're going to be talking music today. What's going on, Llama? Yo. Check this out. First off, good to see you. Here's another fun fact. I can't see shit. I have one contact in. Which is probably like illegal in California because everything's illegal in California. So I can see enough that I probably won't hit a wall. But thanks. I'm literally flying blind. I'm literally like on a YouNow thing and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And because of your icon, I'm like, that looks like a llama. Ah, that's llama. So, and I can't see it on my phone. I was really relying on my phone to come through for me on this one. And I can't see it. So I'm gonna lean in a lot. It's good to see you guys. We have such a cool guest. Llama knows. For those of you guys that aren't on our little list, we've got a really cool, I'm gonna leave it as a surprise because I think it's more fun that way. But holy shit. This is like epic. This is really epic. Llama, I was checking out some of your stuff yesterday. So we have, you may know, we have Keith Peluso coming on Friday to chit chat like we do. And first off, holy shit, I didn't realize how insanely talented that guy is. It's like, it's funny how you just kind of like get a first impression about somebody. I'm like, oh, he's just this really friendly, chill guy on YouNow. Like, what a nice guy, and he's got this community, like super rad. Seems like nice. Like, nice is probably literally the nicest, maybe one of the nicest guys I know. I've never even met the guy. And I'm like, that's rad. Like, we're looking for, and then I'm doing like kind of like my background stuff to, you know, get a little vibe. And I'm like, holy fuck. Try and only do that once this show, but probably not realistic. Yeah, I'm gonna stop fucking around with my phone because it's not happening. Dude, that guy is, oh my God. I mean, the voice and sounded insanely good on The Voice. Really, really, really good. So I feel a little awkward because I can't even see like the text. I'll probably have to just put my glasses on. Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna try one more time. I'm gonna try and sign into my deal. But yeah, Keith Peluso is like crazy. I can't wait to talk with him on Friday. How long have you guys like, how long, because he's only been on YouNow, if I understand correctly, he's only been on like 3-4 months. He only came on because he couldn't tour with fucking Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Like, that's who's on Friday. The guy who's singing with the current rendition of Blood, Sweat, and Tears is, right? He's on YouNow because he was like, okay, well, I can't tour and I can't do my solo stuff, so I'm going to just do this instead. But, geez. Okay. So it's been a little while. 7 months. Yeah, it's weird that like I can't see my own stream on here. Might just have to rock those glasses. I think that's what's going to be happening here, folks, because I feel awkward, and I love awkward, as any of you that are on here normally would know. I think I'm going to be rocking these glasses because I want to be able to see what you guys are saying. So, yeah, man. What's up, Tories? Oh, you're testing with Arabians? Oh, okay. Do you need me to do something or not do something? Do you need me to hop off for a sec? There's testing in action. I knew I would get you because you're like, he's not gonna be on until 9:54. I got you. You want me to hop off? Yeah. So Llama, you been writing a song a week? Keep up with that Peluso? Or song a week? What am I talking about? A song a day. Tori, let me know if you need me to hop off for a sec. Yeah? Dude, that's hard. It's hard to do that. And he's such a good writer too. Like, it's annoying. And he's a good singer. And he's a nice guy. What a catch. Dude's a catch, man. Super talented guy, man. And he's a park ranger. Like, fuck. Anyway, I'll save the rest of it for Friday. Tori, you want to hop on for a second? Because I got to go pop some glasses on. I can't see. Like, I feel like I'm like a fish, but like a blind fish. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like swimming around and it's all watery, but I'm blind. Llama is loving this. Llama loves it. She's loving it. I'm loving it. Brought to you by McDonald's. Tori. Llama, would you like to keep us company for about the next 2 or 3 minutes while I put my glasses on? Would you like to do a PSA announcement? Would you be down to do that? Because you're like that skilled. You could just hop on somebody else's stream and be like, I'll cover it, man. I got you. You're the best, Llama.
Hello.
What's up, Elf?
Hi.
Oh my God, you're in your car.
I am in my car.
This is the most dangerous you now ever.
It's not. I'm not driving. I'm in the parking lot.
Okay. Well, your Wi-Fi is a little snippity snap. Can you like creep around to a Starbucks so you have a better Wi-Fi? No, don't do that. But your Wi-Fi is kind of like, which is a sound effect for not really popping at the moment. Yeah, it's not coming on. I'm gonna bring you back into normal land and then try one more time. Let's try. Oh, cannot invite. Wow. It's like you've been blocked. I don't think you've been blocked. I think it's just a little confused. It's like you bring her out, then you bring her back in. What you doing, man? What you doing, man? Llama, if your Wi-Fi pops back in, then give me a shout. We'll bring it back. So, just to prove that this is live and we're not trying to make this too polished, I'm gonna hop off for like 2 minutes and put my glasses on so I can see with a screen because I can't see anything at the moment. And so give me like 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Man, I feel so much smarter right now. What's going on? All right. Boom. This is Professor Pete. I think Tori's called me that before. She's called me Papa Pete, Professor Pete, things of such nature. Yeah, man. So we got some stuff coming in about 13 minutes. I hope it's been a good week for everybody. Let's see who's here. You guys are back. What's up, T? Danielle, what's going on, man? I think I remember you from a couple other times you were visiting. Yeah, man, it's been a busy week so far. I'm interviewing, you guys heard of Cameo? So there's like a whole subsection of kind of live streaming that has to do with like little sort of like miniature live streams. There's a lot of companies that are playing in this sort of space where, you know, you can kind of get like a celebrity or someone on for a quick like meet and greet, or you can get them on for 5 minutes and have them sing you happy birthday, or you can get them to like show you how to play golf or whatever. There's like 1,000 different versions of what people are doing right now. And probably the biggest one, the one that's kind of dominating the market right now, is called Cameo. So I'm going to do this that way because I feel like otherwise it takes up like the whole screen with my big old hat. Yeah, man. Do it like that. So yeah, so you got Cameo. I'm actually speaking to the CEO of Cameo in a couple hours. I spoke to an incredible live streaming kind of expert, Karen Allen, yesterday, who's actually started on YouNow. She actually literally wrote a book on how to live stream on Twitch. Has worked in the music industry for like 20 plus years. She worked at the RIAA during the Napster era. Like, she's gone through and seen a lot of stuff in her career. And she's probably one of the smartest people in the live streaming world, in my opinion. And had a great interview with her. That's going to be in the virtual and remote guide soon. So been doing some of that. Looks like Llama probably lost that Wi-Fi. Man, when you don't have Wi-Fi, it's tough. When you don't have that Wi-Fi, things get sticky. I'm going to try again. I'm going to try again to watch myself. That is one great expression you've got, Tori. Love that. That is hilarious. Tori. Oh my God. That's great. That's some good stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure why I can't hop on to oh, maybe it's, I don't know. It's because we're partnered and we can't do it now, or who knows. Hey, Christine. Good to see you again. We have a really, really, really fun guest that's going to be popping on shortly. If you have any questions for him, you can let me know. How's everybody going? How you been, Christine? It's like Llama's back. She probably drove home and got that Wi-Fi going again. What have people been up to in this last, man, it's like all we did was take last Friday off. We normally do this Wednesdays and Fridays. His name is Arabian Prince, and he's a founding member of N.W.A. And he's done an incredible amount of stuff in the tech space that I'm going to let him talk about a little bit directly. But he is someone that has done a lot of different things in the music space and tech space. And I think this could go in a lot of different fun directions. So it just depends on, I have so many things in my mind that we could talk about. So if Tori is here, is he a real prince? I think probably, depending on who you ask. Nah, it's a funny story about how he got his name, but I'll let him tell you that. He's not a real prince. Probably doesn't have like a prince, card. But I know. But I mean, shit, like people can get knighted. I mean, like Paul McCartney got knighted. Maybe he can get princed. Is that something you can do? I wonder if that's something you can do. I know Tori has a crown, so she can get princessed. She's got that crown. She's got that crown. Christine, would you want to get princessed? I think I could deal with being a prince. Reminds me of Little Prince. Anybody ever read that book? That's a great book. Actually, I had a hard copy. If you try and buy that book now, it's kind of hard to get the original version. I tried to buy it like a year or two ago, and all the shit that they're selling on Amazon, the version that they're selling is like the newer version, which is not the same. And it doesn't have the like classic little drawings on it. It's like a timeless book. And I just wish they had the old hard copies still. I do. Music questions that you guys have. We're literally booked up, I think, through the month of July now. And in August, we've got something very exciting that we're stirring up right now that I'm not gonna get into too many details at the moment, but I think that will fill up pretty much the month of August. Yeah, it would be stressful to be a princess. Although I feel like, most 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old girls are like, that's the goal. It's like, someday I want to be a princess. In fact, I want to be a princess right now. And they don't seem to be that stressed out about stuff. Maybe momentarily something happens and they're like, "Arr!" But basically, the princess card just allows them to be like, I don't want any vegetables. And it's like, wow, don't make her eat the vegetables. What's up, T? I think you're going to have a good time today, man. I really think you're going to enjoy this one. How you doing? Are you writing like a new rap every day, like Llama? Putting it right on you, right? I'm like putting it right on you. Like, yo, you writing every day? You been good, man? You got like your writing notebook, like near your bed when you wake up? Yeah, you got it. Working on one together soon. Yo, let's write something together, man. What do you think, T? Should we write something together? Let's do it. Oh, you've been working on one with your dad. That's dope. Love that, man. Got that father and son like connect. That's super cool, man. I don't know many people that can like relate to that. Like, yeah, I'm working on a rap song with my pops. Like, yeah, me too. I know exactly what you mean. Like most people be like, damn, you're writing a rap song with your pops? That's like, kind of mind-blowing, man. That's super cool. Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring you on sometime soon and just write. I like what Keith is doing, by the way. Keith Peluso has a We Create Now community, and he basically gives you like a prompt. He has like a bunch of in a hat, and then he picks one out, and then you guys just kind of write on that prompt for that day. So maybe we can do something like that. Oh, my apologies. Didn't realize that. It's hard to tell even on like you now, like right on. Well, plus it's also like your name doesn't really like give you any sort of like clues. It's just like I'm T. So right on. Cool. I didn't realize that. So what are the kind of themes that you guys write about when you're writing? Do you feel like you tend to write like about anything in particular? By the way, I watched Straight Outta Compton last night. I watched the director's cut. It's fucking long. Has anybody seen it? Did you like it? Did you dig it? 1 to 10? Anybody seen it? If someone was going to ask me, look, I got a little bit of time on my hands and I want to learn about that era, and I can either spend my time watching Straight Outta Compton or I can watch The Defiant Ones, which is a documentary about Dre and Iovine, Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, that has a lot of the same topics and a lot of the same subject matter and a lot of the same, not footage, but like a lot of the same anecdotes and stories from back in the, starting in the late 80s, 86, 87, that sort of early era reality rap, gangster rap, all that early stuff that Arabian Prince was a big part of, and that sort of combination of like electro, all that stuff from Kraftwerk and Art of Noise and all those people mixing it with hip hop, and then all the stuff that was happening in society at the time. And it's crazy, we're like right back in it again. How many years later? How many years is that? Like 30 years? Anyway, I like the Defiant Ones a lot. I love the story. I think it's really well done. So between the two, honestly, I would do that one. I was actually thinking about, like, there's a lot of books that I think would be cool to bring into this. Books on music or books on creativity, stuff like that. Or we could do movies where like everybody watches a movie and then we just kind of rap on it. Yeah, you just kind of like riff a little bit, T. I think that's like the best. One of my favorite, Daniel, man, I would bring you on, but we literally have a guest that's scheduled to come on right now-ish. So as soon as he shows up, I'm going to bring him on. But another time for sure, man. Appreciate you being here and wanting to pop in. Yeah. Are you, do you work in music, or do you have a background in music or a certain interest in music, Daniel? Just to get a vibe. Yeah, man. Yeah. Sweet. Arabian is in the green room, man. He's shaking it out. He's getting his last little sip of water. Love it. Love it. I'm not even sure what you guys fixed, but that's why it's great to have that magician named Tori that can just be like, I got you. Oh, you're unknown. I didn't realize you're the same cat. Okay, got you. You kind of, I thought in my mind, wait, is that the same cat? Because I think your icon's like virtually the same, right? Yeah, man. For sure, for sure. Yo, I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you because I noticed that you had been very, 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 very supportive of 7,000 Apart, right when they sort of moved into this space very recently, and you know, you're like one of these connectors for you now, and that's super amazing. Uh, and I appreciate that that's what you're doing, and there are certain people like Keith and you and others in the you now space that I feel like are kind of like inspirations for us too, because that's sort of what we're trying to do in our own little way. 7,000 Apart. Yeah, man. They're crushing it. Who won? What's up, Arabian? What's up, man?
It's cracking. I made
How are
it.
you, sir?
I'm good. You?
I'm good. Did you get my email like an hour ago?
Yeah, I did. And
Were you just like, nah, dude, we can't
no, I
do
mean,
that kind of shit?
here's the thing. I want to see if it's gonna work here because I could let me see, do I have something loaded up? We could figure some stuff out to play. Matter of fact, I was just gonna try it because I got my DJ set up, but I got like three. I'm a freaking PC nerd, so I got like three crazy PC setups in my music setup. Like that thing right there, that SpongeBob is actually a high-end gaming PC that a company EVGA built for me. And
What?
yeah,
So wait, so it's a PC behind the SpongeBob face?
the whole
Is
thing
that
is built like, see, it's got arms and feet and everything,
no?
and it's fully like it's 2080, 32 gigs of high-end RAM. It's got like 10 gigs of SSD. I mean, it's like crazy fast. And I did a thing for St. Jude's Hospital with my partner EVGA, and they presented it to me for Christmas. Like, man, we appreciate what you do for us. We know you love SpongeBob. Like, here. And I was like, thank you. Like, yeah, man. So
He looks highly caffeinated too, man. I like that.
oh yeah, yeah, man.
And especially that expression, man. He's definitely juiced up. He's like, "Rah, I'm ready to go."
Yeah, and I was gonna, you know what? Let me do a test here while we're getting ready to get started because I think I might be able to. I'm gonna launch my other PC while we get going here.
Yeah, for sure.
See if you can, because I'm trying to figure out. We couldn't get OBS to work, so that's what the problem we were having. There's some issues with OBS and guesting, I guess you were telling me. So some weirdo stuff. And I was gonna ask you if she said you might know where. The now people, are they US based?
As far as I understand, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to them and like get them some help because it seems like they're still trying to put it together and get it to work seamlessly. And if these big tech companies that don't know nothing about streaming figured it out, I like this platform. I think it could be something hot. So I would love to help them get the right resources to make it like a seamless transition to, for anybody to hop on. And I think that's what's going to make it amazing.
I'm all about it, man.
So, yeah, let's see how we can help that initiative.
Yeah, I can definitely make an introduction to some people on the team and let you know a little bit about what they're doing. What do you? So, did you know about you now before we reached out to you recently to bring you on for the invite?
Actually, to be honest, no. Like, I had never heard of it, and that's the other thing. I'm like, oh, another platform. I'm like, okay, this is dope. Let me check it out. And I actually was on, not actually trying to go live, just streams for the past like week or so, and I never did test out the system. Like one of the things that I think that they probably need to fix is if I'm already if I'm here and I want to switch something, like switch cameras or switch something, I have to actually go out, go live and do it in there. There's no settings while I'm here. I should be able to just go and say, you know what? Let me switch to this camera, let me switch to this speaker or audio, let me go headphones without actually leaving a stream or something like that. So I would love to implement some of those things and get this thing cracking.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same experience you did. I didn't really know about it, and I was just kind of looking into, about 3 4 months ago now, I started writing for a set of music industry publications, and I put together like a resource guide on live streaming, on remote production, on remote collaboration, on anything that we could do as an industry to not die,
Right.
and also move into things that might even be better than what we had before for depending on what you're trying to do. And that's when I discovered you now, and I realized that, okay, they have a particular sort of like space in the market, and I feel like it's just very plug and play. They keep it very simple and very like, how do we just make it easy to connect people and have multiple video on at the same time. You got some people that are loving on your computer setup. It'd be nice if your screen was a little wider though.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
It's kind of short, dude. I need to get a big.
Yeah. It's like shit. You could do the whole wall at some point.
Oh, dude, there's a new one that Samsung just dropped that's actually more concave. It's like literally, if you're sitting it just dropped it last week. Like if you're sitting in the middle of the screen, it's almost like like you're in VR.
180, just whoa.
Yeah, it's
all
got
the way?
almost. They said it's got a
God.
bigger, like a bigger field of view than if you were wearing VR goggles. So you're sitting in it, you're kind of like this. So that's gonna be my next one because I have what I'm streaming on right now is my other PC, which you can't see, and it's got a wide screen one too. So I'm probably going to add one on this side and do that. So, yeah.
At some point, it is IMAX. Tori's, I think, on it. She's like, yeah, that's like, man.
Yeah, we're getting there. We are definitely
crazy.
Getting there.
What do you think? What do you think of VR, man? Like, where it feels like it sort of, in a way, dropped off a cliff. Like it was like hot for a minute, and then everybody was saying, "Oh, it's going to sort of like pick up during the pandemic," and it hasn't really moved at all. In the last few months, right?
I'll give you this is my honest take on VR, and I've always been this way. I've actually been a proponent of it. I've been messing around with VR since like the late 80s, 90s, because I mean, it's been around that long. It's been around since the age of like, Commodore Amigas, the VIC-20s and the 64s. So the problem with VR is that, one, billions of dollars were thrown into it a few years ago when it was hot. Everybody, VR, everybody's jumping in, spending billions and billions of dollars, Magically, Oculus, all of these things. One of the biggest problems with VR is the fact that us as human beings do not like to be totally immersed for long periods of time. It's cool for a while. It's like a roller coaster. You like riding roller coasters, but you're not going to sit on a roller coaster for hours and hours. You want to get off and go do something else. And that thing where when you're fully immersed, as a human being, the distrust factor of what's going on around you is heightened. So you're sitting there for 10, 15 minutes playing a game or whatever, like what's going on around me? Like, what can I see? What's happening? And, your body, you get this uneasy feeling. Some people get sick. Hey, I got to listen type 50, whatever. But it's that thing where you get uneasy. And I've always been a proponent of augmented reality, mixed reality, to where you can still see what's going on around you. And that's why everybody was jumping on the Magic Leap bandwagon, because it was mixed reality. It was like, hey, I could be sitting in my office playing a video game or doing whatever I'm doing, reading my emails, talking to somebody, walking around an office, like in HoloLens, you're walking in your office and all of a sudden somebody calls you up. You're just like, hey, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm just walking around. I was going to go do lunch. You're talking to them as you're walking. That's where I think it's going to be. But VR itself is more like a Disneyland, a Magic Mountain. It's something you do for a while and you have fun, and then you just put it back up on the shelf.
For sure. Miley, thank you so much for the likes and for bringing some people on. What I want to do right now is, it's so great to have you here, and I would like to just give you an opportunity for everybody. You now is a cool space because we've announced who you are and that you're coming on to our crew that comes on kind of regularly. But there's also people that are just slipping into this and they're just like, cool, what's going on right now? Who's that guy? What are we talking about? Right.
Right.
So for those of you that have just come on and are just like, okay, what's going on right now? You're looking at a musical legend right now. Arabian Prince has quite a background, and what I would like for you to do, if you could, is with almost like a connective tissue with technology, if you could take us back through some of the things you've done in music and where you're at today, and at those moments along the way, what was going on with your relationship to technology, because I feel like that's kind of the through line that's connected so much in your career. So start back from however far you want to go back, as a kid growing up. How were you connected to technology, and how did that sort of like bring you to where you are today?
Right. Well, as you're not old enough to know about this movie, but the old Steve Martin movie, The Jerk. I was born a poor black child. You get a chance to look at that line. But anyway, growing up in Compton or the hood, like, you didn't have a lot of opportunities, especially in anything, let alone technology, electronics, or computers or anything. And I'm old. I was born in the '60s. So when I was a kid in the '70s, I had a lot of uncles and cousins who were, gang bangers into drugs, doing all kind of dirt and crimes in the area. And they didn't want me to do what they did. They were very overprotective of me to keep me out of the streets. And I appreciate that. So most people say they have a fear of God. I had a fear of my uncles and cousins. Like, whatever they said, do or don't do, I didn't do, So I stayed in the house a lot and just read books and learned and did those kind of things. And then once my uncles got a little older and got more refined, they all got sent away to the military and became engineers or, other things like that. And when they would come back overseas, they would bring back like electronics, like ham radios and synthesizers. Like, I'm like 7 years old playing with an ARC 2600 synthesizer. And if people don't know what that synthesizer is, it's that synthesizer you see in all the movies that it's like a big suitcase with a bunch of wires that plug in, look like a mad scientist. So I'm this little kid playing with all this stuff, and it sparked me. I was like, man, I want to do this. This is the fun stuff right here. So as I got a little older, talked my parents into like letting me get a CD radio and put a big CB antenna on the roof at like 12, 13 years old. And
you're like on the CB radio, like,
oh, dude, yeah. And I had the same voice now that I had then. So all the women thought I was like some old dude. And I'm like this little kid, right? So I was doing all of that kind of stuff. And then I started fixing my CB radios and modding them, and got into playing a lot of music because my uncles were really into vinyl records back then. And then my father at the time had a radio show on a radio station, a talk radio show. So I would sit there on the weekends in the control room playing with all the vinyl and records and teaching myself how to just mix. And next thing I know, I was a DJ. And it just kind of just kept going from there. And becoming the DJ and hanging out with the likes of Dr. Dre and my boy Egyptian Lover and some of the other cats on the West Coast, we all got really into technology because in order to be an electronic producer, you had to know computers in the studio because you had to be able to sync music with SMPTE and MIDI and CV gate. And if you had a synthesizer, well, you got to be able to sync it up and sequence and all of these things. So that's kind of how I got in, and then been in ever since.
For sure. And what about you had this sort of almost second part of your career where you started doing things with 3D design and the tech space, kind of semi-independent of music. Can you connect it through that second phase as well, just so people get like a bigger picture, like all the stuff that you've had your hands in?
Yeah. So when I was making music, especially when we first started N.W.A, we really couldn't do much because either the police were after us or gangs were after us or other people were after us, because we were this controversial group. So we really couldn't go party, hang out much. You had to be kind of like safe, So I bought a lot of the early computers at the time. Like people don't know Radio Shack, which is now I think defunct and out of business, used to sell computers, and they used to call it Tandy. It was like all their stuff was a Tandy this or the Tandy that. So I bought like a Tandy laptop, then I bought like a Texas Instruments computer, and I was buying all this early stuff, a Commodore VIC-20, and just trying to learn what it was because I could use it for music, right? And then gaming popped up in the 80s, became a real hot thing. The arcades became really, really hot. And I'm like, man, this is a lot of money. I'm putting so much money in these machines. Like, I'm trying to figure out how I can get the money out the machine. Like, how can I be involved on the other side and be the guy getting money from this? And I saw all my rapper buddies who used to smoke and drink and party now playing video games, wanting to battle each other and Tecmo Bowl or whatever, you know, and play these games. So I'm like, I want to get into this. So I taught myself how to code. And it was hard back in the day because there was no internet. There was no YouTube. This was the before times, right? So I had to like figure it out reading books. And, you know, they had, you know, you would get a CD in a magazine that would show you different programs. And I would learn all of that kind of stuff. And then taught myself how to do sprite animation. And then 3D animation was starting to be hot. Got into that and became really good at it and started going to conventions like SIGGRAPH and other conventions. And big companies, I would ask them questions about stuff that they couldn't answer. And I was like, why don't you guys know about this? Oh, well, the technology is new and blah, blah, blah. And I would show them some stuff. It's like, well, how did you figure this out? And I'm like, well, I got a lot of time on my hands because I do this. And they're like, oh, wow, like you're pretty good. Do you want to work on some projects? Next thing I know, I'm doing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. First season, I did a lot of the visual effects on that. Casper, Addams Family, Silver Surfer cartoon for Fox. Got into all of that kind of stuff and was making actually more money on doing film and television than I was in music. And this is back in the late 80s, early 90s.
And what about the mailbox money? How did the mailbox money, the royalty money from those two spaces compare?
So the cool thing was this. Music business, anybody who's in the music business knows, like you're always fighting with the record companies about your money. You know, it's hard to get your money. So that's why I was loving the other side. I was loving this, you know, visual effects, 3D animation space because they ain't got time to mess with your money. They got to put a show out every week. So they're paying you big money to get it done. They got a deadline. So they're paying you money and big money. And then I partnered with a couple of computer companies and I had render farms. So I had like all these computers and servers that were supporting big companies because they needed to get the animation out. So I'm making money off of that, making money off of this. And I'm like, this is really, really cool. And while I was working on the Power Rangers, I found out that Fox had just started not animation. They just started an interactive division called Fox Interactive. And I'm like, well, I want to make video games. I went over there and started talking to them and say, hey, how can I come over here and make video games? And they're like, well, we heard about you over there. Like, we still don't know why you got a job. Like, why are you trying to work when you know, you're successful, you make music, you've been doing all. I'm like, this is fun. And they wouldn't let me work at Fox on games because I knew nothing about video games. But back then, nobody really did anyway. So I went over there and got a part-time job as a game tester when I wasn't touring, just to get in the building and learn about games. And they got tired of me sitting over there in the testing unit, and they were like, man, come on, we're going to make you a lead. And they kind of put me in charge of some, you know, teams to work on games and stuff. So yeah, that's part of how I got in.
Unbelievable. You went pretty nerd. Like you went from like, I mean, you were probably always had that nerd aspect. Like even probably when you were working on music early on, you probably had that strength that you could, you know, crack open a computer, you could crack open and understand coding, you could crack open a drum machine. And were you that person in the group or even working on music that you could sort of like use that part of your brain and be that person in the room to like make sense of that technology?
Yeah, I was actually that dude on the West Coast. Like other groups would call me up and like, hey, come to the studio and help us set up this, you know, like we can't figure out, we just bought some new drum machines or some sequencers. How do we do this? So I was that was the one that would do that for other groups as well. So that's why if you look at my musical history, I'm associated with a lot of different groups because I was a guy that would go in and co-produce or work on stuff that people couldn't figure out.
You still working on music? I mean, you wear so many hats now. Talk a little bit before we get into like really cracking things open and moving to a lot of different spaces. You have some newer projects and releases and things that you've done in the last couple years. You want to tell us a little bit about some of the projects that you've done and been a part of in mentoring and in tech and in the accelerator card that you're doing for consoles?
Yeah, one of my biggest things is, like I said, I always understand where I came from. I'm blessed to have been able to make some money and get out the neighborhood and, you know, kind of get into a lot of different avenues. But I also want to show kids, not only, you know, kids of color or people of color, but everybody. Like I'm all inclusive, you know what I mean? Like even elderly and veterans, anybody who doesn't have access to the knowledge of technology in the future, I want to give them that knowledge and information and show them how easy it is to do. Because like I said, back when I started, it was hard because there was no internet. Now it's easy because if you want to build anything, you want to build a plane or, you know, whatever, you just go to YouTube. Somebody has already done it and told you how to do it. You know what I mean? So I 3D print, I do laser etching, and, you know, I do all kind of stuff, water jet, stuff that people would never know about. And how I got in, I would go to YouTube and like one of my computer cases behind my SpongeBob computer is a computer that's called Beware of the Dog, where I said, I want to make a pit bull gaming case. And I'm like, how would I do that? Okay, I need to cut the case. I'm like, well, lasers, that's kind of messy and dangerous. And I found out that you could cut metal with water. There's water jets. And I'm like, oh, nice. So I found a company and went over there and said, can you show me around? I got this concept. And they were like, sure. So they showed me around. And at the time, they were under N.W.A, but they kind of told me a little secret. They were like, you see all that metal over there, all those pieces? I'm like, yeah. It says, we're cutting all of the stuff for the new Star Wars area at Disneyland. So they were actually cutting all of the Millennium Falcon and all of that kind of stuff. They were cutting all the pieces using water. And I'm like, oh, I'm blown away. So I learned how to do that. So I'm learning off of YouTube just like anybody else. So I'm teaching kids like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And some kids tell me, I want to be a, you know, a photographer, or I want to be a producer or a cinematographer. And I'm like, well, show me some of your stuff. And most of them go, oh, well, I got to wait to go to college. I'm like, why? You got a freaking iPhone 4K in your pocket. Where's your movie? Where's your short film? So go online, figure it out. There's 14, 15-year-old millionaires walking around on social media because they figured it out. And I just want to give these kids that same passion. So that's one of my main things.
How does that, is that located primarily in Los Angeles? How does that sort of incubator work?
So it's nationwide. Like I have partnerships here with the Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs, doing some stuff with something called the Solar Project in South Central. We're building out 5 beautiful, large warehouses spaces. We're putting like esports in and learning technology spaces in there. I've got a lot of big partners like Microsoft and Intel and EVGA, and going to work with HyperX and some other ones to do some things to just, you know, kind of proliferate this across the country. I've been to Milwaukee. We did some big tech thing in Milwaukee. I'm talking to Texas right now, Austin. We're trying to bring that to Austin. So for me, my vision of open labs, my company's called Inov8 Next, and this project is called Open Labs. It's something that can be anywhere across the country. It's just a concept that I show companies or nonprofits or people across the country how to implement this. And then I bring my tech partners in and say, hey, let's go in here and do some social good.
Is it something you apply for? Like, can people that are watching apply for it? Is it something that's just kind of localized to where you are geographically?
It's a little bit of both. Like, people hit me up and like, how can I get involved, or how can I, you know, I have a startup that I'm trying to do or have an idea. I take it all, and we just kind of say, hey, we can help you, or we look at what you're doing and say, hey, we got the company that can help you. We've got, you know, like somebody was into VR, we said, okay, we got some partners that are into VR or AR that can help you. And we think that what you have is a great idea. Let us partner you with this company and make that happen. And, you know, I'm also an investor or part of a bunch of investor VCs and angels that can help as well. So, yeah.
So for people that want to learn more, is the easiest place just to go to the website, or is there a place they can sort of reach out and say, hey, I have this idea, I'm looking for some guidance?
Yeah, I would either, you know, go to my website, which
Okay.
is Inov8 Next, INOV, the number 8 and next.com, or the easiest way is either hit me up on LinkedIn, just under, I think it's either OG Arabian Prince or Arabian Prince, or on Instagram at OG Arabian Prince. I answer as much as I can. As long as somebody ain't sending me nothing weird, I usually answer back.
Yeah, it's my policy as well. Thank you, Tori. You read my mind. Yeah, I mean, that's I think that's something that you have a unique sensibility for, because you understand sort of like the learning process in the tech space, because you've done it probably a dozen different times with different things over the years. But you also, you know, understand moving through barriers and boundaries and kind of like even pivoting, like maybe, oh, this is my area of expertise, but no, I want to also learn this. I want to learn this. Like those are skills. It's not sometimes easy for people to even get comfortable with the idea of like, okay, but I'm a musician, but I also want to learn coding.
Right.
And even now, like you said, as easy as it technically is for people to learn that stuff, I think there's a mental barrier more than anything, because probably, you know, just, you know, our parents and then our parents thought, well, you know, you pick a lane and you run that lane and you work with a company for a while and you learn some specialties, and then that's kind of your play. And that isn't really, I mean, it seems to me that's not really how it works now. Do you feel like if you're mentoring someone that's, let's say, you know, 13, 14, 15 years old, and they say, hey, I'm thinking about doing something, let's break it up into two pieces. Let's say someone says, hey, you know, Arabian Prince, I'm thinking about making a record. I'm thinking about becoming an artist. And it's the same thing, you know, it's like, but I don't know where to start. And I'm not there yet, and I'm not signed, so I can't really do anything yet. What do you tell someone about, okay, here's what you do first?
Right. I usually say, and I just had this conversation actually yesterday or the day before with a new group, that you gotta, in this new world, and I'm very bad at it because I'm not, you know, a person that wants to be out there, you know, in the, hey, look at me. I'm not that dude.
Right.
Like, that's why a lot of people say, you were in N.W.A? Because I wanted to be behind the scenes. I don't care about fame as much as money. But it's one of those things where you gotta get yourself out there. And for any new artist, I say start working on your social media. Start working on getting your friends together, you know, to kind of get you out there. Like, show people what you're doing as you're doing it. Like, don't just be silent and then all of a sudden go, ta-da, here I am, because you wasted a lot of time. What you want to do, people want to see your journey. They want to see that kind of like, okay, remember Justin Bieber was playing drums in his kitchen, you know, as a little kid, and people went, oh, and then, you know, you saw his progression, and people like that. People feel like they're a part of you. They're your friend. So you want to do that. And then I say the biggest thing is take care of your business, because people forget music, business. There's two words in it. Everybody focuses on music and they forget about business. And then they finally get a hit. They finally get some success. And then they go, oh, where's my money? And they're like, well, you don't get any money because you never took care of your business. You never did the contracts properly. You never copywritten your stuff. You never did your publishing and your writers. And, you know, so these are the things. There's a lot, millions of people are putting their things up on SoundCloud, which is cool. I don't mind that. But all of that music, or a lot of that music, is not copywritten, which means anybody else can go listen to your song and steal it and put it out, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you really got to take care of your business in order to be successful.
And what about for someone that's doing the same thing, comes to you for the same reason, but they're like, I want to do a startup and I want to do the, you know, the Uber of whatever, you know, would you tell them basically the same thing? Start with your socials, show people the journey, know your business, or is it a different set of principles if you're trying to start a kind of a tech space company?
Yeah, it's actually half opposite. Definitely take care of your business, but always tell them, shh, like, stop talking about it. Stop telling everybody, because there's people out there who have more resources than you that can maybe take your idea and run with it and put it out. And then you're like, hey, I had an idea, and they put it out. So you really got to be careful who you talk to about your new startup, and also do your due diligence and your research. Like, really go back and say, somebody actually came to me with something that was talking about a new type of Uber a long time ago. And I'm like, well, they're kind of doing that. Yeah, but, no one likes Uber, or no one likes Lyft anymore, and all of these things. So mine is better. I'm like, well, how is it better? Like, why would people stop doing this to do yours? Because they don't like that anymore. It's like the whole Facebook thing. Everybody hates Facebook. Facebook.
They're still using it, though.
I'm like, they still got more money than everybody. They got more money than the government. And until they fall off like Yahoo, I still use Yahoo, but until they fall off like a Yahoo, they're still very powerful and very relevant. So
it's that pixel money, man.
Right. Hey, so if you don't, I don't use the pixel. I'm Samsung guy, but it's that thing, man, where you really got to look at as a startup that there's nothing out there. I always tell people to find a lane, like find a niche, because this is something that people don't talk about. They always talk about the success of these companies. But one thing I find very interesting is this: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Google, all of these companies, all of this billions of dollars they've made in the so-called technology, what have they done different? They all use photos, text, and social engagement to interact with people. That's basically what they all do, but just in slightly different ways, and they're all billion-dollar companies. So my point is, they all found a niche that was in a vertical that's very common, that everybody uses, and became successful. So you don't have to go and create plutonium or do something like, oh, I got a new car that just floats. Okay, that's fine, but do something practical, do something simple that people can just hop on. Like YouNow is a streaming platform, just like all these other streaming platforms, but it seems more sociable. It seems a lot, like it's more friendly to me. I'm saying they need some help. If y'all listening, y'all need some help. But it's there's room. Just find your vertical.
For sure. Now, you guys, I'm going to open it up to some questions. I wanted to give the people that are here a little bit of a scope, because the questions, I think if we didn't take that time, honestly, to let people know all the different things that you could talk on, every question would be about electro music and N.W.A. and what was it like in 1989, which is super cool. And if you guys want to move and have the rest of the talk be about that, I'm all about it. But shit, we could literally talk for 24 hours with you about all sorts of shit, and it would be fascinating all 24. So I want to give people a sense of like, wow, like I didn't realize all the different things that we could speak on. Another thing I liked about your story was, and this reminds me of so many people I know from the music industry that have some parallel to this, of like that time when you wanted to get into the gaming industry, and people are like, well, you don't have the experience and you don't have the resume, and it just doesn't seem like we have like a justifiable reason to bring you in. Cool, man. Let me test some games out. Let me get in the fucking room and just be with you guys. And then, so talk about, like, is that something that you think still applies, getting in the room? Or is that kind of a non-issue now with, what you can do online and just hitting someone up on LinkedIn? Do you still need to get in the room first?
I think so. I think that it's easier to get in the room because you actually don't have to actually be in the room, because you can see what all these companies are doing online to a certain degree. Like if I wanted to go do something with SpaceX or Tesla, I could go on YouTube right now and probably see tons of articles or tons of videos on SpaceX or Tesla and the factory and what they're doing, and kind of find out, I think I could do that. Like, I think I would like to do that. And then you could go and do research on how would you get skilled in that particular thing to be able to go work there. And with a lot of the big companies and the government now saying that you don't need a degree anymore to do certain things. It's all skill based now. Like a lot of, tech companies especially are hiring people on their skill as opposed to 4 years of college or 2 years of college or master's.
I feel like Elon just said that publicly on some kind of social. He's like, I don't even worry about where you went to school, your resume now. I just look at your skills.
Yeah, it's all skill based. I mean, you got some. There's a partner of mine out of Canada. He's a freaking genius. He just created a new type of volumetric camera. And how I bumped into him was another friend of mine. We were at the CES convention, and he was on the bus, the little bus that takes you to CES. And this little kid, probably 16, 18, 20 years old. He looked like a little kid. He's on the bus taking apart GoPro cameras and doing something with him because he had a meeting and he was working on his project on the bus. And my buddy was like, "What are you doing?" He says, "Oh, this is my volumetric camera that I built out of GoPro parts." And now he just got a big, huge grant from Disney and he's doing all kind of amazing things. So yeah, it's all about just kind of looking and seeing what's out there and what you want to get into.
So as you were moving through your journey, there were certain moments where, different industries were at like a pivot point and you could jump onto that wave. Like when you jumped on fairly early to gaming or coding and things, and you were like pretty much on the bleeding edge of a lot of those things in terms of the chronology of it. What even music, right? Like you were pushing the boundaries of sonics and production and all that stuff back in the day, not to even like also the message you were putting out and what you were talking about, and like you were always on that edge. What do you think are the most exciting things right now? Is it 3D printing? What is it right now that would be the thing that people could push on the most right now?
You know what? And I say this, and it's actually changed in the last 3 months of what I would say. And I would say the most exciting thing right now is the big question mark, the unknown. Because of COVID, because of all of the stuff that's going on with COVID, with the protest, we're in a different world. And you're going to see a lot of startups creating new things around COVID and around the protest and, a new social kind of good thing. So let's go to COVID. And if you think about that, now you've seen this pivot to this live streaming, to musicians and bands and, entertainers who normally are used to performing in front of people in a venue now are doing it virtually. And you're seeing startups pop up every single day building new platforms for that because there isn't one. And, a lot of the DJs and musicians are going to Twitch, but Twitch is really not the platform. It's just because it's a little different. Gamers get Twitch. Musicians are a little different. A lot of them are very artsy and they don't want to be bothered. They want to just push a button and go. So platforms are popping up for that. And then you're seeing other types of startups saying, hey, we want to attack, COVID stuff. Like my new company is called Covitech, which we're offering PPE supplies and software solutions for big companies and small companies and moms and pops and cities that want to protect their employees and protect the public. So we saw a vertical that let's get in, but let's do it in a way to help, not to just make a ton of money. Like, yeah, I want to make $1 billion, but I want to do it in a way where people get help. And like, what? $20 for a bottle of hand sanitizer? Are you crazy? No, we can sell it for $5. You know what I mean? And
basically the model that you're using is kind of a Groupon model. Like, look, let's get 100 purchases all together. We'll push the price down and get everybody the bottle for $5 instead of 20, right?
There you go. Yeah, we just actually launched, I think it was yesterday or this morning, that first initiative on our Covitech site, where I think the first thing that we put up is hand sanitizer, like a box of 25, I believe it is now. You can get it for $5 a bottle. You have to buy 25, a case, and we have it, I think, at 1,000 cases. So people go on, we keep the price low because we're going to move them. and then we put up the next thing, and we just do that, and people can get it. Because I looked at Amazon. Amazon was charging like, between 12 and 15 to $20 for the same
Yeah,
thing.
and that just makes it worse. Like, you already have a health crisis, and now you've got an economic crisis, and now you've got a price crisis because shit that normally should be $5 is now going to be 15. So the way I just popped on the site for a couple minutes yesterday, but it seems like the way it works is you go on and you basically sort of commit. You say, look, I'm going to buy 10 bottles at that price, and then you don't actually charge everybody until the whole thing kind of happens, and then everybody gets it at the price that they wanted to pay it for.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of an eBay sort of thing. Like, look, if it's this price, I'm down.
Yeah.
And let me know, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Which again, it's part of what I think is interesting. You were saying like these different tech companies, these different billion-dollar, multi-billion, trillion's going to be the word we use soon enough, but like major money in these companies, and they're basically all just kind of using the same basic 3 or 4 ingredients, and the concept doesn't seem that complex after the fact. So like, I think those simple ideas, well executed, is where so much of the change and the value can come from. So like, just trying to get people the things they need right now at a reasonable price, and sourcing them and getting everybody paid, and then doing it again, man, like that helps the whole situation.
Yeah.
So does. And again, and one of the things I admire about Elon and all the companies that he has is that, in my opinion, they're all committed to social good and economics, and getting a good product out to people at a good price, and all those things kind of like combined into one company that's well run and says what it does what it says. So like, I think those principles are important as well. So for live streaming, a lot of the impetus of this live stream is literally like, okay, let's do a live stream about live streaming and music, and sort of what does this mean for us, and more broadly, like, what are the things that we can do as music creators and music fans to kind of like move into this new normal. What do you think of live streaming right now?
It's kind of like a pain in my butt, because
that was not the answer I was expecting. Cool. Let's hear.
I love it, and I'm trying to, I'm probably going to eventually make some money off of this new thing. Not new thing, but what I'm saying, as far as just the boom of
the
it.
New wave. Yeah.
But this is so funny, man, because every morning, like yesterday, and give you a good example. Tomorrow morning, I have to wake up at 3:30 a.m. because at 4 a.m. I am a judge on a hackathon in Belgium on camera. So I got to get up and like get pretty, you know what I'm saying? Like, go clean up, get all ready, and then be on camera at 4 a.m. for something going on in Belgium. So it's kind of like, and then, same thing every day. And I got to say, did I wear that shirt today? Because I'm a big SpongeBob, as you can tell, I'm a big SpongeBob fan. So every day I got like a different SpongeBob shirt or something crazy. And it's like, what did I wear yesterday? I got to go look and, yeah, I wore that. I can't wear this. It's just, that's why it's a pain in my ass. But other than that, I think I love it. And I think the fact that another thing it's doing is it's humanizing big corporations. Because big corporations, if you think about a huge corporation, you have people that would sit at their desk and not interact with anybody else at their desk. And they're in the same building, right? Now, a lot of people have been at home and they're having to have these big virtual meetings where everybody's on camera. And it's kind of cool because people can kind of, unless they're hiding their background, you kind of see people in their own habitat now. So it humanizes people in the sense that, oh, well, I didn't know that she had 17 cats. You know what I mean? Like, why are the cats crawling everywhere? Or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Or why do you have like a rhinoceros head behind your couch? Just, random stuff that you find out about people, So I think it's actually going to be a good thing for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. It humanizes people, and like all of a sudden, you could still get, you could still get somewhere in Europe or get somewhere in Asia. Eventually, you could email, you could make a call on WhatsApp or Skype or whatever. But now it's like, man, I got to be like live and ready to go across. And I think a lot of people, even that have moved into you now, especially, have learned like, damn, like if I'm going to try and reach a global audience, I got to have like, I got to run like 3 different time zones at once and do one thing at 6 a.m. and do another thing at 2 and do another thing at 8, so that like the whole world gets to see me for that little slice of time.
Yeah, and it's what it is. And like I said, if you want to ascend and be, and this is what I say, I'll say this, we kind of touched on it earlier. There's a big difference between being famous and successful. There are a lot of famous broke people in the world. There are a lot of famous people who have the outer appearance of being successful, but behind the scenes, they're actually not. So if you look at it in a flip, it's being successful and figuring out what those keys are to be successful in whatever you do in life. Once you set your own goals, like success to one man or woman is different than somebody else's goal. Like, to achieve a billionaire status, or some people just I just want enough money so I don't have to work. Or some people, I like working, and you know what? I just want to make sure I don't have to worry about bills. If I can make $65K a year, my car is paid off, my house is paid off, I don't have any bills, I'm happy, I'm successful. So it's relative, but you have to kind of define what your success is. And when it comes to technology, music, esports, all of these things, you have to define what your success level is. Are you an esports gamer? Are you want to be ninja, or do you just want to win and just be that quiet dude who wins that nobody knows who he is? And,
how important do you feel it is for someone that's kind of getting started in something, maybe in their, teens, 20s, let's say that they own what they make, or that they have a certain degree of independence about what they're doing versus, being an employee or being in some other role that could also be advantageous, but doesn't give you that sense of, I own my content, I can move it over here, I can repurpose it. Is that more important now than it was before?
I say, I always say that everybody's their own brand. You got to look at yourself as a brand, but also as a brand, you got to look at what are your tendencies. Are you that person that can control your business? Are you that person that can control your brand, or are you more comfortable just being part of a ship? Like, okay, I'm one of the sailors on this big ship. Like, I work for Microsoft, I work for Intel. I just love this. I'm part of creating technology, but I get a check, I go home, I don't worry about it. Or do you want to be that social influencer who's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? You know what I mean? Like the Kardashians, they're 24/7, big empire, but they're always on. You know what I mean? Like always on. Like even behind the scenes, they're probably on because they're figuring out what the next step, the next move is. So, either way is probably good. It just depends on who are you and, what you want to be.
How do you see yourself? Are you more of basically someone that's got a lot of sort of like roles and you're basically that team player? Or do you see yourself as that person that's like, no, I like to kind of like run my own ship and have my own thing?
I'm both. Like I run my own ship, I have my own thing, but I'm a team player. And if I see a startup or I see another company like you now, I see you now, I'm like, I see where I can add value, I can help, and I'm that guy who's very humble with that. Like, I don't care. It's like, I'm a futurist. And the definition of a futurist, I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm a self-proclaimed futurist. And my definition is simply this: to push the boundaries of technology to the future, right? Like, I don't care about the iPhone or the Android phone or the latest tablet, because I want the next thing. Company, I won't say what company it was, they came to me and had me look at some of their new stuff. Like, they had a tablet they were going to launch. And I'm like, okay, what does it do? So it's a tablet. We're going after the iPad. I'm like, really? Well, what does it do that the iPad doesn't do? Because if it doesn't do something that it doesn't do, why are you making this? Because that's the best tablet. It's got to be better. Like, does it levitate? Like, can I walk around and it floats in front of me where I don't have to touch it? If it does that, you got something. But if I got to hold it and just do the same stuff as an iPad, I think you're going to waste your money, because You can't beat that. So for me, pushing that boundary, like, what is the future of technology? How can I help in any way possible? If I see something that's 75% and I see where I can help that get to 100%, I want to be a part of it to help, because I can help them get to 100% and maybe carve out a little 25 cents or 30 cents for me. Like, okay, I made 30 cents over here. I made $1 over there. If I do this another 999,000 times, I'll get to, a million. If I do it another 999 million times, I get to $1 billion. So there you go.
How do you keep up with things so that you can do that? If you're talking to someone that's trying to roll something out that isn't necessarily adding a whole lot of value in the marketplace, what are your tools for keeping up with what's going on and keeping an eye on what's happening? You have certain publications? Do you have people in your life? How are you plugged into the matrix to have a sensibility for what you think will be happening?
It's a long day, man. I wake up early. I'm on it every day, looking at what's out there. Got my ear to the grind, like what's happening, what's new in tech, what's going on in the news, what's going on in the stocks. I'm always on it. And like, perfect example, you mentioned my product, M Classic, which is the dongle that's it's not really a dongle, USB plug that can
plug and play. Yep.
Plug and play. You can take any graphics and upres it to 4K in real time for consoles. So it's technically a graphics card for consoles that make a console better, right? How I came about that was crazy. Like, it's exactly what I mentioned. I was at E3, the gaming convention. A friend of mine who works for branding companies said, hey, you need to see this technology. They've got something amazing. I went and looked at it, and this company, Marseille, has this thing called M Cable. It's a cable that up-reses video to 4K. You plug it into your TV, you plug it into your gaming system, and it makes the graphics better in real time. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, it probably doesn't work. And then I checked it out. I'm like, wait a minute, it works. How come I haven't heard of you guys? And I'm like, And then I looked at it. I'm like, okay, you're selling a cable for $149. That's why I haven't heard of you guys, because I'm not going to pay $139, $149 for an HDMI cable. So I was like, you know what? I might be able to help. Wrap my head around it, came home, talked to the guy a little bit more, and I said, you know what? I got an idea. So because I'm a 3D printer and I can do CAD and 3D graphics and stuff, I designed this dongle, and I went through so many iterations of it. Finally got to something that I like. Sent it to him, and he was like, wow, this is amazing. I said, let's put this out. So we partnered, we put it out, put it up on Indiegogo, and almost did $1 million on Indiegogo, like 800 some thousand Indiegogo. I think we've hit the $1 million mark now on something that never existed, but they had the technology. I just did a little tweak. It made it look better. It made it more palatable for a consumer market. So
Tori has a question. What consoles or games are you into at the moment?
So my game right now, which is the bane of my existence, is Borderlands 3. That is my bane right now. And they just put out a new DLC that I haven't played yet because I've been so busy. And I'm just like, I need to play it. But I know if I get in, I'm not going to do anything else. So Borderlands 3 is my thing. At night, my boys, who aren't really gamers, they're musicians, but they play Call of Duty Mobile. They play COD Mobile. And they were like, man, you got to play, dude. We're killing them. We're ranked. We're doing this. So I got in with them, and I'm like destroying fools in COD Mobile now. So those are my games. I'm a big Nintendo Switch person as well. Zelda, like, me and Zelda is like it.
From way back, right? From back in, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and so I'm a PC guy mostly, and it's PC or Nintendo Switch. I have consoles, but when you got a big screen like that, like, why would I play console on the TV when I can play, with a 2080 card and get the resolution I can get on my PC? So
it's interesting that you're a music guy, but you're a PC guy, which is pretty rare unless you're a film composer. How did that happen?
Well, because I'm a programmer. And you really can't program on the Mac. And two, even back then, I think early on, I was a Commodore VIC-20 guy, a Commodore guy. And then from Commodore was more closely related to PC than Mac. And then when I got into PCs, I think I was on Cakewalk Software, which was a PC product. And then my buddies were all Logic. They're still all Logic. Man, come to Logic. I'm like, well, when they put Logic on PC, I'll come to Logic. So
I don't think they will.
No,
what about Unix? Did you ever mess around with Unix? Okay.
Yeah, I mess around with Unix, even Unix and a lot of the other Ubuntu and all of that stuff. Yeah, Red Hat. I play around in a lot of different spaces, man. I just love technology. So.
T was asking, do you show people how to hook up game systems on PC too? Not sure what's your question. Oh, do you show people how to hook up game systems on PC? Not exactly sure what you're asking, but I'm definitely down to ask that question, T. Can you rephrase it so I know exactly what you're asking? So guys, we got about 5 more minutes. If you have any specific questions that you want to ask Arabian, definitely let us know right now. Tori, you want to hop on for a couple? I know you're probably doing a little work at the moment in the background, but if you want to pop on and chit chat with us, you're absolutely welcome to. Let's do it, T. Go by the window. Yeah, man. She likes that window shot. It's like me, man.
Oh, okay.
Tori, raise your hand. For some reason, it's not letting me. It's not. Yeah, I agree with you. YouNow has got a tremendous amount of opportunity, and it's got a tremendous amount of. Do you show people how to play games on PC? Oh, do you basically do you do any kind of like, hey, this is how I play so and kind of have those kinds of streams?
Well, so check this out. This is why, I'm getting there. Like, everybody's telling me I need to have my own YouTube channel. I actually played around. Oh, I'm gonna call it this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do. I'm a shopaholic, so I'm like always buying some new technology or something anyway. Like, I can do unboxing videos. I can do this. I can do gaming stream. I haven't done it yet because, like I said, I'm not that dude that's always like, hi, look at me. Look what I'm doing. Check this out. But yeah. I want to, but I want to do it in a way where I'm trying to think the way I'm going to do it is with the next generation. Like, I want to give inner city kids an opportunity. So I'm thinking about building a channel that's going to be some me, but also getting other people on my platform saying, hey, today we got so-and-so from Compton talking about this, or so-and-so from South Central talking about this, or so-and-so from, the Bronx and Brooklyn, New York, and they're going to today unbox this for you guys on my platform. So I want to make my thing more of a global thing as opposed to me being like this social media guy and, So I think I'm going to do it. I just got to, get it to where I want it to be.
For sure. I mean, that's kind of what the spirit is. Tori, by the way, I tried like about 20 times. And for some reason, again, sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sorry, girl. I think we're sort of doing the same thing you just described. It's the two things that I sort of thought about in doing this was, number one, 4 months ago when, Tori and I were like, try refreshing. I can do that, except that I'm on an iPad, so it usually won't work. But thank you for the idea. I would do that. I mean, when we were just starting this, and it's like, well, we don't know how to live stream. You meant theme? I'm not sure what you mean, man. Sorry. Explain better, and I'll try and do it for you. We were like, we had no idea what we were doing.
Right.
I think refresh on my side. Oh, okay, Tori. Maybe if you refresh your side, that could work. We had no idea what we were doing with the live streaming, and we still don't. And I think that was part of the reason that we wanted to do it, is just like, let's move into this. It's almost like the way tech companies are like, let's just try something really teeny tiny and see how this works before we start figuring out like what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. Let's just taste it a little bit and see if it's even worth pursuing. So that was one thing. And then the other thing was just kind of like, look, let's bring people on that are smarter than us, that have been doing it for a while, that have something they can share with the community, and that's what we've been able to do. So I think it's a great platform for that, whether you're doing it on Twitch or YouNow or whatever. YouNow is really fun because it's very low key and it's very kind of lo-fi, really. It's like, it's chill. Like, you just hang out, and I think it's a good place to taste and test and sort of see, like, you know. So I would encourage you to, you know, if you got something that you're thinking about trying out, try it on YouNow. Twitch, you know, we ran a couple of these on Twitch, and it works obviously just as well in theory. Yeah. And I think the bar can be a lot higher on Twitch as far as the fidelity and the production value and all that kind of good stuff. But YouNow is just literally plug and play. Yeah. And for us, you know, it's like Tori's working full time. I got full time plus a bunch of other stuff, and it's easier for us to just launch into it and not have to sort of like lean into the tech as much as we would in probably anything else. So I think it's great. I think it's a great idea, and we would definitely like follow you if you were bringing people on and talking about stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Like I said, it's just one of those things I got to figure it out and also get the time to do it. But I'm working on it, and I want to do it, and I got to carve out, you know, once or twice a week to where I just focus on this. I'm always on somebody else's thing, you know. I'm on somebody else's stream. I like, but I just gotta, you know, just get to it. I think I'm gonna do it. I got time now, you know, since we can't really go outside with the zombie apocalypse. So, you know, yeah,
it's crazy out there, man.
So, dude, I'm curious. Can you hear this? Because sometimes I know when you play music in the background, it gets clipped by the sound. Listen to this. See if you can hear this. Is that coming through? Oh, okay. Yes, I just want to make sure. So now I know, because this is something that's different. Because if I'm on Zoom cuts out background noise, so it'll cut out music.
There's a setting where you can have it not do that.
Okay, I need to look at that. Because
you can toggle a setting, because it's basically got, you know, filters that are de-essers and all sorts of stuff to try and keep the noise out. Yeah. But sometimes that's not what you want. You want to actually open up the channels.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna fix this OBS thing, so I'm gonna figure that out.
OBS is a pretty magical space. It's just in the YouNow environment, and also as a guest, there's certain things that we haven't been able to figure out as far as like getting certain, you know, getting a digital audio workstation sort of piped in, and getting things like that like working. I would love to have, like, you know, I didn't think about it until this morning, but I think having a conversation like just a musical conversation, man, would be so fun, and be able to play some stuff of yours. So if you ever want to come back and we can figure out the pipes, that would be absolutely incredible. Because I mean, like the stylistic things that were happening back in that era when you guys were producing is fascinating to me, because like have you seen the Defiant Ones?
Yeah.
You seen that doc?
Yeah, I'm actually in it for like two. I said, there I am. Like, I'm right there.
Yeah. What scene? Because I've watched it like 5 times. So
if you go back and watch it, when we're in the recording studio with JJ Fad, you know, I did Super Sonic. So I'm actually sitting next to Dre, behind the console, where it's all sitting there when they're recording. Yeah.
Completely. Supersonic. There's this scene where Dr. Dre is listening to Kraftwerk.
Yeah.
And it gives me fucking chills every time, because it's like the breadth of like DNA that the music was being pulled from at that time, and probably now again. But like I think it's so cool that you guys were pulling from like essentially like this sort of niche art pop techno European stuff, and that was the heart and soul of like black hip hop in the United States. I
Yeah.
think that's so fucking cool that like music doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. No, it was because it was a whole pop locking scene. You know what I mean? It was that whole vibe. And then Soul Sonic Force and Africa Bambaataa did Planet Rock, and they took that riff from Trans Europe Express. It was like, huh? What was that? Like, and everybody jumped on it and wanted to look at it. And since you brought that, I was going to see if I could find. I hope I have it. I just did because one of the founders died of Kraftwerk, Florence Schneider.
Oh, recently, yeah, like a month and a half ago or something.
Yeah, he just passed away, and I
remember reading that now.
I actually did a remix of Trans Europe Express, like actually played it, and I was trying to see if I could find it, but I don't know where. I don't, it's like one of those things where you have so many folders, like where did I put this thing? But yeah, it was pretty interesting that I went through and did a version of Trans Europe Express. But yeah, it was kind of cool.
Wow, man. What besides Kraftwerk and Art of Noise, what are some other like ensembles or projects that you think were sort of like deeply embedded in the hip hop scene that had nothing to do with the local hip hop scene originally?
I would say, like, believe it or not, Prince and Michael Jackson were really, really big influences. A lot of funk. Funk was the biggest, like the Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy, a lot of that stuff, Sly Stone. So a lot of the, disco, big disco, influences. Because if you look at Heat Wave, which did the song Groove Line, and a lot of that stuff is what we used to pop lock to. So that was like the early hip hop. It wasn't hip hop, but we were dancing to it. So it became part of that. And then we would go back and sample that stuff. So those were a lot of influences. Even, like punk rock and new wave with Devo. Devo kind of close to a Kraftwerk kind of thing. They were a little weird, but it was kind of like Whip It and Devo and that kind of thing. And we were into a lot of stuff in the 80s.
Yeah, there was also like even in the late 70s, there was that section like the last couple, years of the late 70s where like all kinds of niche music was sort of like pushing through, and you had singles and all sorts of like sounds that were just sort of combining. Do you have another stream you got to pop onto?
I'm good. I mean, I can, like I'm supposed to be on another stream, but it's not like I'm talking on it. They wanted me to join. It's a stream about music and the intersection of music and esports. I'm going to hop on that for a minute. I think I might have found it.
Good. Is that on you now or Twitch? Where is that?
So they told me something about it's like on a private. Let me look at the email that they just sent me. It was like this is some private server thing, and I can get you guys.
I mean, if we can hop on there, or if it's cool, great.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
I'm gonna tell you exactly the wording that he sent yesterday. Now I gotta remember.
Not that Tori wants to come on there and like check the whole thing out. I think she does.
What was that guy's name? I don't even remember his name.
Thanks for fanning, Shibby. What's going on?
Where is this guy? Oh, I look at my calendar. Let's see what it says. It says talking esports. It's on Discord.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Discord thing. I'm just gonna open it up in the window and see what happens when I click on this link. Talking esports. Yeah, I had to accept an invite to get in.
So it's an invite-only thing?
Yeah, I can send them a message. Let me
Thank you, Shibby.
If so, I'll send you guys the email if I can get you guys in.
Yeah, I mean, we'll totally hop in there because I think that's also super interesting, like the music and esports thing. And I was talking. Do you know who Karen Allen is?
Karen Allen.
Yeah, so Karen Allen wrote a book called Twitch for Musicians.
Okay. Huh.
It's, to me, I mean, you seem like someone that reads a lot. You read a lot of books. You probably read a lot of manuals and learn about it stuff. Like, you're a reader. I can just tell.
Right.
And to me, The best book on live streaming is Twitch for Musicians by Karen Allen. She is the smartest person in the music live streaming space, or at least she's top 5. She's been in the music space for a long time. She was at RIAA during Napster. She's seen it for a while. And she wrote a book that's like 20% strategy and 80% tech on Twitch for Musicians. And she said yesterday, I was interviewing her yesterday for a piece, and she was talking about how, like, you know, I was like, okay, so with hip hop, the style, the genre of hip hop, the music itself, you know, there's this new-ish thing called caffeine.
Right. Yep.
And they're moving real hard in hip hop, and they want to be like the hip hop live streaming thing, right?
Yeah.
Because Twitch doesn't really have a lot of hip hop.
No.
And where the fuck's all the hip hop? Like, there's a lot of hip hop out there. Where's all the, right? So caffeine's like, that's where we're moving into. So cool. But you know, my question was, her comment was like, well, you know what works very nicely with live streaming? And she broke it up, by the way. Live streaming is kind of like, there's the broadcast live stream, and there's the community live stream.
Right.
So when you're doing music and you're live streaming it, you either are just kind of putting it out there and there's a little bit of engagement, but it's basically a broadcast. Or you're doing like a community thing. Like a lot of the people on here, Emma McGann or Matt Walden, or so many of the people that have done well on live streaming over the years, it's like 50% music and 50% just, this is who I am. We're going to talk. We're going to chat. It's not a broadcast.
Right.
So she was saying, like, in the community vibe space, like singer-songwriter stuff works very well. And like certain genres tend to work well because you can pick up a guitar and you can do covers and you can interact. You can do a piano and you can do covers and interact. And I'm like, what about with hip hop? And how does that work? And like, does it lend itself to like more of a casual, we're hanging out, I'm going to spit some bars, but then I'm going to stop and hang out with you guys? Does that really work? And her comment had to do more with the esports thing. And like, hip hop is so perfect as background for esports because it sets a vibe, and it's not necessarily like, you know, verse, hook. It's just a vibe, and it creates an energy that you can just have in the background. So I think there's something natural between hip hop and esports that I'm not sure exists to the same degree with hip hop and live streaming. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that it just has to be figured out, and I think that's the problem, is because most hip hop, there's a few that have transcended over into gaming or into live streaming and do it well, but for the most part, is everybody's on their grind and they don't have the time to figure it out. And what everybody, well, hopefully sitting at home, people are starting to figure it out a little bit more. Yep. But and understanding like, well, I got to do this now because this is where I'm going to make my money. So they're trying to figure it out. But I think it's somebody's going to pop up where there's caffeine. I've been on caffeine just looking around. I haven't actually used it. Or is it a new platform? Because there's some popping up. I'm just signed up to be on the board of a new one. I think it's called Strio app is coming. And the Strio app was supposed to be a platform.
How do you spell it?
Treo.
CREO?
Streo. Strio. Strio app, all one word. And StrioApp.com. And basically what it is, or what it was supposed to be, is a place where if you were in a venue and you wanted to live stream your performance as a DJ or a performer, that's what it was set up for. So like, I'm about to go live at this club. Damn, I want to stream this, right? And have my fans watch me, and I can make a little money off of this, right? Boom, you just one button push, there you go, you're live streaming. And then with COVID, they had to pivot slightly to make it so that people can just stream from home or whatever, you know, and I'm trying to take that platform and say, hey, let me take that platform and live stream it and white label it or do something else with it and build this new gaming / music platform that's a crossover. Like, don't mess with Strio app because it's focused on one thing. I think that's the problem with a Twitch or even with a caffeine. They like, okay, well, we're going to pivot a little bit and open the doors for this and try to bring them in. It wasn't built for them. It wasn't built for hip hop. It wasn't built for musicians or artists. So it has to be a platform that's built for us that we feel comfortable in, not like, oh, they're just pushing us in the door of something.
So here's what's interesting, and I know you got to jump, but I want to just like put this last little piece out because I'm super curious about your impression of what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So Twitch, if you look at Twitch's business model, the amount that they make from music is about 1%. And the argument has been posited, and I believe this argument, that the reason why Twitch has successfully been able to, let's say, take on music content and support and sustain music the way it has is because music was not its sole purpose. Gaming was, and
Right.
Gaming was robust enough that, yeah, you musicians, you want to come on and fucking like play around a little bit, and Dapper Rapper and some of you guys that are super talented, yeah, man, like hop on. But the deal flow and the income and the eyeballs wasn't sufficient enough. And the argument goes that if you make live streaming for music, it isn't going to work. 4 have failed previously. And unless you're doing ticketed shit like Stage It, or you're doing something that's like, okay, it's live streaming, but or Side Door, or even Bands in Town, which is not a live streaming thing, but it's like a it's now pivoted to kind of a curatorial thing. If you're doing live streaming for music, if you read history, that won't work. You feel me? So I just as kind of a devil's advocate, like, do you think that it actually makes sense to use these platforms that aren't necessarily built for music and just kind of like piggyback on them? Or do you think it actually makes more sense to have one person that says, you know what, let's do this right?
Yeah, I think it's do it right. Like, let's,
Okay.
because the reason it hasn't worked is not because it can't work. It's because, like I said, you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And in musicians are a different beast. They always want to lump musicians in with gamers, or musicians in with artists, or musicians in with actors. I think maybe actors and musicians are a little bit more closely because we're all weird. You know what I mean? Like, and very finicky in what we do. Like, there's another platform, I can't remember the name of it, and I think it is called Grammophone. Gram with an R, GRAMR, and PHONE or FONE. It's out of London, and I'm talking to them, I think, this afternoon.
Damn.
And their platform is interesting because it's a plugin. I'm not sure if it's a VST or a plugin, but basically it will allow you to live stream your music straight from your sequencer.
DAW?
Yeah, from your DAW.
Oh, fuck.
See what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I'm interested in. I'm like, oh, so I could be working on something, and like people can be like, let me check this out. So I'll keep you posted on it. I'm talking to them again today.
Are you connected with Sessions?
Actually, I think I've been on the email chain with them.
Are you connected with Audio Movers?
No, not Audio Movers. No.
Do you know about Audio Movers?
No, I don't.
Let me send you some info on that.
Okay.
Are you connected with Session Wire?
No. Don't know about that one.
I'll send you some intel, man. I would love to talk with you for hours. We appreciate your time and just the spirit of you being here, man. Like, it just means so much to us. We appreciate you, and let's definitely stay in touch. Thank you guys for being here. That was amazing. So thank you so much, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
Let's do that.
Thank you for you guys that popped on. This was a once in a lifetime. You guys are probably like just shaking your heads going, holy shit, that was insane. Thanks again, Arabian. Thank you so much, and we'll definitely be in touch.
On this next stream, I'm gonna go check right now, and I'll send you an email if I can.
Thank you, and then we'll put it out there.
All right,
Thank you, Tori. See you soon, man.
All right,
Thank you so much.
See ya.